We're going to do a quick run through of lesson 217, Income Inequality. It's a part of Econiful's one semester high school curriculum. I love this lesson because it's really hands-on. There is some material prep and an activity that involves students rotating through stations. So if you're feeling intimidated by any of that, this video is going to set you up for success. The sequence is we start with an income distribution activity with manipulatives, then do a data walk, an overview of U.S. income distribution policies, and a concept connection summarizer. I'm going to be skipping over a lot of the slides in this run through and focusing on giving you a feel for the lesson and some extra guidance on the data walk. So let's start with classroom setup. Ideally, we have 8 groups of around 3 to 4, could be 2 students in a group. They don't have to be perfectly even, but ideally there would be 8. If you have a really small or a really large class, we'll talk about that later in the video. To pique students' curiosity, the lesson begins with students predicting how income is distributed among quintiles. Each group is going to receive 1 handout and 1 bag of beans. So in the classroom setup I just displayed, that would be 8 handouts and 8 bags of beans, and you can of course reuse those for every class. After they do their prediction, we'll reveal the reality of U.S. income distribution. And then after we complete that portion of the class, we'll do the data walk activity. For this activity, they're going to view 4 sources connected to income inequality, and they're going to gather evidence that supports the positive statement, income inequality exists in the U.S., as well as make notes of any questions that arise. So for this example, this is for a larger class. If you have more than 32 students, you could do 12 groups. Since there are 4 sources, you just want the groups to be in multiple of 4. So you'll have a manila folder, each with multiple copies of 1 source, and place the folder with a group and announce what number source that is, and move clockwise around the room. Students will start with the source that they're given, and then after 4 minutes, they'll rotate and they'll move to the next source. So for a small class, you could do just 4 groups. Here you can see one of the sources in more detail. And again, students will have 4 minutes to make notes about the source before moving on to the next one. As you can see, some of these graphs are in color, but they all work just fine if printed in black and white. After groups have rotated through the 4 stations, they'll discuss these debrief questions, first as a group and then as an entire class. And then they get the opportunity to discuss a normative question: how should income be distributed between the quintiles in the U.S.? Following the data walk, there's direct instruction about the current redistribution policies and critiques of those. I'm not going to go through those slides. Here's one of the slides, just some examples of social safety nets that we have. And then we also talk about progressive taxation, and again, some economic critiques of these policies. We'll end with a concept connection summarizer. In preparation for the end of Unit 2 summative assessment, students are asked to make connections between what they learned today, the real-world issue of income inequality, and economic concepts. The full lesson plan can be accessed for free at econiful.org. You do need to create a membership. If you try it, we'd love to hear how it goes. We've got this feedback form in the slides and in the lesson plan, and we're always available if you have any questions.